Hello and welcome to The Hub on Vital MX, your one-stop shop for motocross news from around the world. And this is it. We're into the dreaded off-season. But there is still a lot to cover as we are hot on the heels of the 2024 Monster Energy FIM Motocross of Nations. Of course, Australia won that event for the very first time, with the USA and the Netherlands in tow. But you know that this feature is designed to focus on all of the stuff that you may have missed, so let's get into that. First of all, Team Great Britain. They did not have a great time on home soil. Max Anstie crashed out of the first moto and initially feared that he had broken his neck. The good news is that he was cleared of any significant injuries, so he will be fine to start his Supercross prep here shortly. In fact, there may be a gate drop for Anstie in the not too distant future, so stay tuned for that. And his Team Great Britain teammate, Conrad Mewse, rode phenomenally throughout the weekend, but had his momentum halted in the final moto as he broke a bone in his ankle in the early laps and therefore could only soldier on to 19th. Not a great way for Mewse to end what was arguably the best weekend of his career, but the results and the way that he rode will long be remembered. In more Motocross of Nations injury news, Romain Febvre scared everyone in attendance when he fell to the side of the track in quite a dramatic fashion in the last moto. It turns out that he spun on the takeoff of a double, cased it, hit his chest on the handlebars and couldn't breathe, so rolled for another, let's say rolled into the corner and then just dropped as he struggled to find his breath. He was available for an interview after the race, so that gives you an idea that he was back to fighting fit, but quite a scary situation, and similar to Anstie, lucky to escape unscathed. Across the Atlantic now, Christian Craig shared some injury news of his own. He actually underwent surgery on his knee earlier this week, the knee that he injured in Las Vegas. That was actually kept quite quiet. Craig took to social media to say this: "Not the news I wanted to share, but also not the end of the world. In the very last race of the year, I went off the track after the sand section, and when I was re-entering the track, I slid and dabbed my leg. I didn't even fall. Unfortunately, surgery was the best option to get it fixed up the right way. Thank you to @AirBowMD for getting me in so quick last week. With some hard PT, I shouldn't be off the bike for too long and back to racing with the Star Racing Yamaha crew." There is no specific on what the injury is, but it's obviously not an ACL, an MCL, or anything like that. Otherwise, it would be more than a couple of weeks. Perhaps he had his meniscus repaired. I would theorize, based on the recovery time, that it's something in that area. What else? Well, we've had silly season news this week, some good, some bad. The Coenens are moving to Carli Racing for 2025, and most interesting is that Lucas Coenen is leaving the 250F after just 2 seasons in MX2 and moving up to the MXGP class. Coenen won 10 GPs as an MX2 rider, 9 of them coming this year. He actually missed out on the title by just 20 points this year, and so everyone had him tipped as a heavy favourite for 2025. But he will forego a chance at that title and attempt to take on Jeffrey Hurlings and Tim Geiser in MXGP. Lucas is, in essence, a replacement for Jorge Prado, who has now left the Carli team, of course. The Motocross of Nations was heavily rumoured to be his final race with those guys. Sacha Coenen will remain in MX2 and look very similar, as he'll still be on a KTM, in case you missed that. Carli will be a Red Bull KTM factory racing team in 2025, but Sacha jumping from one awning to another. Simon Lagenfelder will stay with Carli Racing as well, so that is the team's 3-man lineup. What about Marc-Antoine Rossi? Well, he will go from Carli to the traditional Red Bull KTM factory racing awning, most likely. And then Nastan Husqvarna are yet to announce a replacement for Lucas Coenen, the rider who will sit alongside Kai de Wolf, heavily rumoured to be Liam Evans. That's a little catch up on how the Austrian landscape looks in Europe. Now the unfortunate news, standing construct Honda have closed their doors ahead of the 2025 FIM Motocross World Championship. The team hung on until the bitter end, hoping for more funding or support, but eventually called it a day earlier this week and sent out quite a passionate social media post reflecting on all that they have done. That post says, what an incredible journey it has been. We've celebrated 8 GP wins, 21 podiums, an MXoN victory, a solid third in the MXGP World Championship, not to mention countless top 5 finishes. Above all, we have made some unforgettable memories and had a blast along the way. Thank you to everyone who was a part of this adventure and who brought the magic year after year. To our amazing fans, your support has meant the world to us. Thank you so much for being with us every step of the way. Now, Standing Construct have no plans to return, but in the past they have bowed out for 1 year and then found their way back. So all we can do is keep our fingers crossed that one day Standing Construct find their way back to the paddock, but this leaves Alberto Ferrato without a home, and a rider like Mikael Harrop, who was pegging all of his hopes on riding for Standing Construct, is also now looking for a suitable home as well. So still some movement to happen in the MXGP paddock. So what lies ahead this weekend? Well, as I said, the cold winter months are upon us, but we do have round 1 of the Australian Supercross series down under, and it should be quite good. Dean Wilson versus Joey Savacci in the 450 class certainly seems like something worth tuning in for. And then, of course, you have the usual suspects like Aaron Tanti, Matt Moss, to name but a few, who will be competitive on home soil. That event is taking place in Redcliffe, Kayo Stadium this Saturday, which, depending on where you are in the world, may actually be Friday night for you with the time difference. Stay tuned to schedules for that information. There's no official word on how to watch it yet, if there is a way, but we will share that if and when it becomes available. Thank you for listening to The Hub, or watching once again. We will be back next week to recap all that has happened in the world of motocross.